Fire.
The house is on fire, the car is on fire, the dumpster's on fire.
Oh yeah.
Remember, we've had a lot of dumpster fires at Tesla, actually.
I've heard. What's going on in Fremont? It seems like a lot of
I've
fires
heard about
there.
yeah, my friends there keep texting me every time there's a dumpster
Yeah.
fire. They're about
Literal
to leave it for
dumpster fire.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah,
not a
literal
metaphorical
dumpster
dumpster fire. It's literally a dumpster on fire.
I just imagine you see the meme of the dumpster on fire floating down the river
Yeah.
in Alabama.
I mean, things like if you have like a lot of cardboard and wood packaging in a dumpster, then or whatever, it's gonna like if it's flammable, it's then somebody I don't know. Sometimes I think some of these things are some kids having fun or whatever, just like being arsonists, and some of it are just I don't know how these things like trying to figure out like, why is this dumpster on fire? I don't know. It's on fire clearly, but how the fire start? I don't know. Nobody knows how the fire started. Like dumpster fires are actually not that dangerous, but they're like, unless it's indoors or something. But like an outdoor dumpster fire is not intrinsically dangerous.
It's contained.
Yeah.
It's contained. It's like the dumpster's not going to melt or anything.
Yeah.
So it tends to just be like it creates drama, but it's not like actually dangerous.
So currently we get to give. We've all been FSC beta. You guys, thank you by the way. It's been fun.
Yeah,
being
thank
part
you.
of testing that.
Recently got kicked out, but
On long trips, really long road trips. It's me. It's me.
Yeah.
It's
I
me.
was on a
really-
long drive to
not
San
kicked out.
Francisco,
On
and
really
unfortunately,
on really long road trips, I have this problem where I'll get the nag thing will give me enough times and I'll disable, and I did like 800 miles across Texas and I'll get tired of it. That's actually not what it's about. We currently get to give feedback for when the car does something wrong. Would it be useful if we got to give feedback when the car did something like really well and really right? Because I have to do great things all the time, but I have no way to like call somebody or mark the video
Yeah.
and say, "Hey, it did this turn incredibly and
Great
it's faced
question.
well." And like, is there? I mean, like, because I'm assuming the AI is being trained with reinforcement learning as well. It'd be great if we could help give that feedback when the car's like, "Great job, buddy!" Like the +1 button or something. I don't know. All input is error.
Yeah, all input is error, exactly. Unless somebody missed the feature, in which case no input is error. Like in some cases, we've got like cool features nobody ever used or knew was there, like the Wizards in Winter Dance with the Model X doors, and it's rare to encounter a customer who actually knows about that. Most of them don't know it exists, and then we made it like too hard to do, and it should be the opposite of an Easter egg. It should be like this maximized number of people who know about it, not like minimize it.
It's actually worked for Tesla. I actually shot the video.
Oh, okay, all right, great.
I tried to get it out there.
Yeah, I think like people didn't translate that to my car can also do this. Yeah, yeah, it's true. But still today, I bet probably I don't know, at least 2/3 of Model X owners have no idea the car can do that.
you're not talking about the Christmas dance, are you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's like such.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
It's so obvious to you, but
Yeah.
it's like done it so many
Most
times
people
with
live-
my neighbors.
I
and
know.
asked me to move.
Right.
Like it's great.
But I mean,
Year
people have never
round.
seen a car do anything like that. So
No, it's radical.
yeah.
Yeah. Do you have like a favorite Easter egg or feature that you've put into the cars that this is just your favorite?
Well, I mean, I suppose that the sort of Wizards in Winter door dance is my favorite, sort of Easter eggy feature or fun thing that has no value in and of itself,
course
except
it does.
entertainment.
Kids
Yeah, it's
get
like
to dance to it.
it's entertainment, but it's like it's not. It's like an unnecessary thing, but it's cool. I mean, there was the tap autopilot 4 times to play more cowbell. Yeah. And like people would but now that's the one that you could accidentally do, and then your screen turns to like Mario Kart Rainbow Road.
Yes.
Yep.
And
You can't turn the volume down. It's full on more cable. You gotta turn it down or off.
Yeah.
It does it again.
Kids can't be sleeping during that time.
Yeah. Santa
yeah,
too. Santa.
I think it's quite a few times people have accidentally, because it's like it is a thing you could just tap too many times.
Yep.
It's like it's not one of those Easter eggs. It's like one of those like old school arcade games where it's like up down left left right, it's like just press it 4 times and bingo. So I think a lot of people just accidentally like, what happened? Am I going crazy? Why is the car doing this?
My grandpa lost it.
Yeah. So that's a cool one. you can change the car to enter 42, car's name changed to Life, the Universe, and everything. There's the James Bond, where it turns into the Spy Love Me car, that's a submarine car, basically.
Yeah. Yep.
Is there any undiscovered
Yeah.
Easter eggs?
Press and hold the phone and it changes to Thomas Edison. Is that, am I recording that right?
Maybe actually, I'm not. There's a ha 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 if you want to change the screen to reindeer.
Ha ha ha, not funny.
Ha ha, not funny. We'll play the song "Grandma Got Run Over with a Reindeer." Grandma got run over by a reindeer is the ha ha, not funny. Yes.
Is there
Yeah.
any undiscovered Easter eggs in production right now?
I mean, there might be. Like, they don't necessarily tell me about all the Easter eggs, But I mean, the thing is that, we can't spend too much time on Easter eggs because we should be.
Come on, that should be the entire focus.
Well, the problem is if something is rare, like what you're really trying to do is maximize the area under the curve of number of people times degree of enjoyment.
Yeah.
So, like, it's fine to have like a, a low effort Easter egg that is something that like a small number of people will get a lot of joy from, and then you like area under the curve of like, well, they got a lot of joy, and but it's a small number of people. But what you're really looking for is something that would provide a lot of people enjoyment, and maximize the area under the curve of total people times amount of average enjoyment.
Yeah.
That's what you're actually trying to do. So that's why I can't get carried away with the Easter egg stuff.
Yeah.
You really want everyone to experience it, not make it some extremely 0.01% of people actually even know it exists situation.
Yeah.
So I think we've got a lot of work to do actually with the basic software in the car. Like our web browser sucks, and we definitely need to do work on the overall interface in the car. There's a lot of complaints on the interface. I think we do better on the interface. But like if you try to use the web browser in the car, it like takes a long time to load, and that's a trash browser.
Yeah.
It's worse than like some iPad from 5 years ago, like by a lot. Like the rear screen and the S and X, the controls need a lot of work. But it can be quite helpful for like entertaining having like your kid now has something to watch in the back.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you can put like YouTube stuff
Game
on.
changer.
It's a game. Yeah, if you play that, it's a game changer. It is a game changer. But like for example, like that's something where we could we should have separate audio for the back, and what's the point of like currently we play the same audio level for that back screen in the front as in the back.
Yeah.
Like it should just play the back should play that audio, or it should like route to a Bluetooth that's keyed off of the rear screen, and then you give them headphones or something.
Yep.
So that people can listen to music in the front and not get blasted by the YouTube Kids Show audio in the front, which is currently the situation.
That's correct.
So there's like a bunch of stuff like that we need to fix. But the overwhelming focus is solving full self-driving. So, yeah. And that's essential. And like that's really the difference between Tesla being worth a lot of money and being worth basically zero.
Yeah.
Yep.
So.
One question I was going to ask with the little maybe remaining time is there any additional questions or FUD or misinformation about Tesla, or I don't know, maybe you want to walk around the factory or whatever you have time for? It's kind of quiet, so but whatever you have time for, we're game for.
Well, I mean, is there anything we should go over that would be helpful? I mean, I think some of these things are like just like the whole founder thing is like it's like I think fundamentally like even a sort of like kind of a stupid question, because what does it mean to found something? There's some critical mass of inspiration and perspiration, but it's a nebulous number, or it's a nebulous metric to say who this person deserves to be a co-founder, this one doesn't. It's nebulous. But I think if you could apply the but for question, like but for this person, would the company exist, or would it have gone bankrupt or not exist in the form that it is currently or in a much diminished form, or simply not exist at all. And the only two people that you could apply the but for argument to are J.B. Straubel and me.
Mm.
But for J.B. Straubel and me, Tesla would I think never have existed in any meaningful way, and if it had, it would have gone bankrupt. So those are the only two people that the but for argument applies.
Maybe you want to go into this here or not. You mentioned, I think, on Twitter very recently about the cold shoulder Tesla and SpaceX and stuff has experienced and the broader, economic and political climate. Do you want to share more about how that's been affecting things?
Take this question. I gotta go.
How you see that changing as, Tesla expands in the Great Lone Star State?
Sure. So, those that follow closely are aware of it. I think you probably are aware of it. So, somewhat of a rhetorical question, I suspect. But I think the general public is not aware of the degree to which the unions control the Democratic Party. One does not need to speculate on this point. Last year, President Biden held an EV summit where Tesla was explicitly not allowed to come, but the UAW was. So now Tesla's made 2/3 of all electric vehicles in the United States. So deliberately excluding us from an EV summit at the White House, but including the UAW, that tells you all you need to know. The reality is the UAW would prefer that Tesla was dead or unionized, but not anything but alive and unionized. And they are no fans of sustainable energy. They have for sustainable energy the entire way. So now at Tesla, far from Tesla has the highest pay in the auto industry, and moreover, the people that work at our Fremont plant have 5 job offers to work somewhere else. There's negative unemployment in the Bay Area. Try hiring someone in the Bay Area. It's ridiculous. There's negative unemployment. So our challenge is, how do we convince people to stay given the many other opportunities that they have, let alone a union? They're like, what? We don't need a union? I've got 5 other jobs. That's the real reason. It's the complete opposite from what they're characterizing. And the UAW has never been able to get even enough people to do a vote, let alone get to 50%. And California is an extremely pro-union state. There's nothing you can do to stop a union if they want to come in. It's like the California will roll out the red carpet. So then the UAW is basically forced to engage in dirty tricks and attempt to demonize me and anyone else associated with the company. It's like if the company's if the company's run by someone who's perceived to be good, then they have trouble unionizing because they're like, well, he's a good guy. Why would you want to unionize that company? So they have to make me evil somehow. And so I do not, as you can tell, I don't like the UAW because they have run a dirty tricks campaign on me since at least 2017. Basically, the point at which they thought maybe Tesla wasn't going to go bankrupt. Because while they thought Tesla was going to go bankrupt, there was no point in dirty tricks. When they thought Tesla might not go bankrupt, that's when the dirty tricks and the sort of smear campaign started. So I'm not a huge fan of them. Now, their attacks did lose a bit of the wind in the sails when the president of the UAW was sent to prison. So that took a little wind out of their sails. And then when the next UAW president, who was supposed to be the person who would clean things up, when he was sent to prison, that also took some more wind out of their sails. But since then, they recently in the last several months, they've sort of back to their old tricks. So, and I mean, they have so much power over the White House that they can exclude Tesla from an EV summit.
It's insane.
Insane. And just in case the first thing, in case that wasn't enough, then you have President Biden with Mary Barra at a subsequent event, congratulating Mary for having led the EV revolution.
This is 26 EVs in Q4 of last year.
Exactly. This is it. I
Mary-led.
believe it was in the same quarter that GM delivered 26 electric vehicles,
That's right.
and Tesla delivered 300,000. not 26,000, 26. This is not. This is what they said. Like, it's not us saying, oh, you're artificially saying their number is low. No, that's what they put in their earnings report. Okay, we're just reading it.
Yeah.
So, like, that's like some next level insanity. So, I mean, so it's not like a sort of a conspiracy theory. It's just observe what, like, if anyone is a remotely impartial observer, just observe the actions, and what other conclusion could you come to than the current Democratic Party does not support Tesla because it is not unionized. They would rather Tesla was dead than be alive and non-unionized. So, and I think the pressure on this will increase over time. So, the more Tesla is successful, the more Tesla is an existential threat to the UAW. And so the more pressure they'll put on the people that they got elected to do harm to Tesla.
How's reception been of Tesla moving into Texas?
I mean, it's been good. Like, I mean, the thing about building the factory here, that's, I think, should be noted, is that we built the factory here in less time than it would have taken to get the permits in California. So the typical permitting time for a greenfield in California is 2 years. 2 years, and you're going to get sued by. You're just going to get sued because you're in California. Like, we didn't get any lawsuits here, and we got the factory built in 18 months.
It's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Since seeing the factory come online, when I've flown here, I'll get people in the airport be like, "Oh, do you work at Tesla?" They are so excited. That's the general sentiment I've seen. Had a guy while driving down to see Starbase stop me. He's a whale man, but he was like, "My goodness, if this is what they're doing with the rockets, their cars have got to be amazing too." I think it's working. Just for the people on the side of the people.
It's like, I love living in California, but the problem is you cannot get things done. So it's like that's what I mean by, like, this is not like, this is simply a description of fact. And ask anyone who's done a large project in California, how long would it take you to get the approval to proceed and pass CEQA in California for a large project? Oh, 2 years, and you're doing well if you do it in 2 years. And you're going to get a ton of people who's going to sue you just for the hell of it, basically. And like I said, we got this built in 18 months. Less time than it would take to get the permit done in California. And when you go back to the fundamental good of Tesla is to what degree are we accelerating sustainable energy, it matters if we get it done now or in 2 years.
That explains a lot, actually.
Yeah.
I didn't think, yeah.
So we therefore have a choice. Do we get a factory in California and delay progress by 2 years, or accelerate it by 2 years and do it in Texas?
Yeah.
What is the morally right thing to do? Obviously, Texas.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and unless, like, this, California's going to need, like, a crisis to have deregulation and delitigation. It's just because the two entities that most control the Democratic Party are the unions, and secondarily the plaintiff bar, the lawyers, the plaintiffs bar on the law side. They're basically the lawyers that sue, especially class action. That's who controls the Democratic Party. Anyone who's familiar with the inside baseball of this will agree with me. This is in fact the case, especially in California. So the issue is that the lawyers write the legislation to make it easy to win lawsuits in California, because they funded the election of the officials of the people that got elected got funded by Democrats and lawyers. So then they write the legislation to make it easy to win lawsuits and get gigantic awards because they got the people elected. And you have this sort of circle of this nightmarish circle until there has to be an above 0% chance of a Republican getting elected in California. It has to be above 0%. Otherwise, you have a one-party state.
Consequences action.
Yes, and then the political parties are irrelevant, and it's just the primaries. So that's the situation in California. And unless there's a crisis, I don't see, like one possible solution is like more open primaries. Like more open primaries, I think would reduce the probability uh, of special interests manipulating the election. And I think like in LA, the mayoral election is open primaries or sort of open primaries. It's like it looks like maybe Rick Caruso will get elected, and he's like, I think it'd be great, you know. And but for the most part, California it's gerrymandered to hell and gone, and to ensure a supermajority Democrat outcome.
I have a follow-up question. Generally speaking, everything you do is for humanity. Why? Why are we worth it? Why do you care about the politics? Why do you care about multiplanetary species? Consciousness, you mentioned that, but like,
Yeah.
do you ever get like, feel like that's maybe not the case or not true?
Well, I mean, there's certainly at times when I have doubts about these things. So, I mean, I think it's a good question you ask because it goes to like at a foundational level, what is my philosophy and why does it lead to this conclusion?
Yes.
So the reason is that when I was a teenager, I had like an existential crisis to try to figure out what's the meaning of life. It doesn't seem to be any meaning. For me, at least, the religious texts, and I read all of them that I get my hands on, did not seem convincing. So then I'm like, okay. Then I started reading the philosophers. Be careful of like reading German philosophers as a teenager. It's definitely not going to help with your depression. So reading Schopenhauer and Nietzsche, I'm like, ugh. Now, as an adult, it's much more manageable. But as a kid, you're like, whoa. So then I was like, man, I'm just like struggling to find meaning in life here. And then I read Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, and basically what Douglas Adams was saying is that we don't really know what the right questions are to ask. Like the question is not what's the meaning of life. In the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, Earth, it turns out, is a big computer and its goal is to answer the question, what's the meaning of life? And Earth comes up with the answer 42. This is where the 42 number comes from. Mm-hmm. And 420 is just 10 times 42.
One order of magnitude.
Yeah. In that book, which is really sort of a book about, it's an existential philosophy book disguised as humor. They come to the conclusion that no, the real problem is trying to formulate the question. So, and to really have the right question, you need a much bigger computer than Earth. And so, maybe like one way of characterizing this would be to say the universe is the answer. What is the question? And the more, or what are the questions? The more we can expand the scope and scale of consciousness, the better we can understand what questions to ask about the answer that is the universe. And the more we can expand consciousness, become a multi-planet species, ultimately a multicellular species, we have a chance of figuring out what the hell's going on. And so, and this is why I think we should have more humans and more digital, both biological and digital consciousness, and why we should become a multi-planet species and a multicellular species, is so that we can understand the nature of the universe. And then, in order for that to occur, then we have to make sure that things are good on Earth. We don't want Earth to disappear. So sustainable energy is important for ensuring the long-term viability of Earth. And making life multiplanetary is important for extending consciousness and ultimately we want to go and visit other star systems to see if there are alien civilizations there that perhaps still exist or perhaps died out millions of years ago. The extraordinarily short, and people I think don't realize just how short civilization, like it's so the first writings were only about 5,000 years ago. So I don't know what happened around 5,000 years ago, but for whatever reason, there's not really writings before that. So there's not like some coherent symbolic representation before about 5,000, maybe 5,500 years ago. So you can call, like, if you date civilization from the point at which we had writing, it's only 5,000 years old. Earth has been around for, I don't know, 4.5 billion years, 5 billion-ish. The universe has been around for 13.8 billion years. There were like shellfish, basically 500 million years ago. So basically, what I'm saying is civilization has existed for an instant, from a sort of a galactic timescale frame of reference. Civilization at 5,000 years is basically flash in the pan. So, and if you look at the history of civilizations, which I encourage people to read the history of civilizations. In fact, there's literally a book called The Story of Civilization. It's quite good. And there's been the rise and fall of many civilizations over the last 5,000 years. And if you look at, say, the ancient Egyptian civilization, which is one of the first writings, not the first, but close to the first. They built these incredible pyramids and had this sophisticated writing system, and then the people living in the area past a certain point, I don't know, maybe around 1,500 years ago, the last person who could read hieroglyphics died. I think probably 1,500 to almost 2,000 years ago. And well before that, the last people who could build pyramids died. And then basically people were living next to these structures that just didn't know where they came from, and with funny symbols written on them. And it took like Napoleon invading Egypt and bringing a bunch of scholars with him, and then the Rosetta Stone, but much more than the Rosetta Stone, ultimately to decipher hieroglyphics. It's quite a difficult thing to decipher. So I'm just saying, like, that's a civilization that had a really good run.
Mm-hmm.
The ancient Egyptians had like a 2,500 year run-ish. That's a very long time. Like 10 times longer than the United States has been a country.
Mm-hmm.
So, but still they died out. The ancient Sumerians died out. They were arguably the first, like from an archaeological standpoint, the first evidence of writing is the ancient Sumerian.
Yeah.
They even found like school books and stuff, like clay school books with like teachers' corrections and stuff. So it's just like basically civilization has existed for a split second is really what it amounts to. So I think it's very important that we become a multi-planet species while we can, and before technology potentially subsides below the level where it's possible. One of the possible scenarios, and I think possibly even a probable scenario, is that our tech level actually drops, just like the ancient Egyptians, just like every civilization, which has gone through, has gone sort of on a sine wave, but ultimately a downward sloping sine wave. So, just like the Egyptians living in Egypt forgot how to build pyramids and read hieroglyphics, we may forget how to build spaceships. And so we should build the spaceships and make life multiplanetary while it is possible. And if there were to be a World War III, which is not zero probability, looking at recent events,
Yeah.
what will be left after that? Will there even be, I mean, will there be, who's to say what technology would be left after World War III situation? But- Yeah.
Yeah.
Should be noted that Russia still has enough nukes pointed at the United States to make every major city, to make the radioactive rubble bounce several times in every major American city currently.
It's not a small number.
Several thousand.
You've seen Battlestar Galactica, I presume, right?
Yeah.
Do you think this has all happened before?
No. Not on Earth, anyway. I mean, archaeologists are really trying hard to find anything interesting. So if you found evidence of an advanced alien civilization, you'd be like the number one hero in the entire archaeological profession. It's like they're trying very hard to find these things. We've not found anything. So, and people sometimes ask me, have I seen evidence of aliens? I'm like, I have not. And frankly, if I had seen evidence of aliens, I'd be like, hey guys, we found evidence of aliens. Everyone give SpaceX lots more money because we need to improve our rocket technology. Otherwise, these aliens are going to get us.
I thought you were the alien.
Yeah. I was an alien until I, got U.S. citizenship. That's an alien registration card, it said.
Nothing funds rocket development like a war, so.
Yeah,
If it was
exactly.
aliens.
Yeah, totally. If the DoD had evidence of aliens, immediately trot them out and say, danger, aliens, give us more money.
All of your money.
Yeah, and everybody like, absolutely, these aliens may not be friendly. So the best of my knowledge, there's no evidence of aliens. So, but anyway, going back to the philosophy part, it's like if you accept as a proposition that we don't really understand the meaning of life, and we wish to understand the meaning of life, then in order to understand the meaning of life, we should expand consciousness such that we can ask better questions, learn more, expand beyond the solar system, ensure that life on Earth is good collectively for civilization, and then we can be less dumb about the nature of the universe, and maybe we can answer some questions about where this all came from and where it's going. I think that's a sound philosophy. It's the least unsound philosophy I can think of.